Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Tim and April Show. I am April Ajoy.
I am sick, Tim Whitaker.
Hello, sick Tim Whitaker. It's nice
I figured I'd just get it out right away. I have a man cold. I'm sick. I'm on Dayquil.
So you're dying?
I'm dying. I barely survived last night. It was horrible. So I have the coughs.
Are you a mouth breather naturally?
What does that mean?
You need the nose. Like when I get sick, I have a hard time sleeping because I do not function well if I can't breathe out of my nose.
Yeah, I think I'm more a mouth breather type, to be honest with you. Yeah. But I woke up with like that real, like when you wake up and you're coughing and it just hurts and it's all stuck in there and you got to like get it up and you're just like, oh, why, how? I don't understand. But it's all good. I am on Dayquil. I have 2 cups of coffee in me. I would not miss the show for the world, so I'm going to power through. I'm going to muster up all of my man courage, my alpha male, lion roar energy, and get through this show.
I appreciate that.
Anything for you, April.
You can do this. I have done podcast episodes with strep and COVID and the flu, so I'm proud of you.
Well, let's not make this all about you. This is about me today. I'm the sick one.
I am on my period.
Oh,
that helps.
I guess
we're both a little extra. I don't know, moody. Maybe?
You can't make me laugh. I'm gonna cough so hard.
Speaking of mouth breathers, do you watch Stranger Things?
Oh, I do. No spoilers.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
But are you caught up on the most?
I'm caught up.
The most
I'm
recent
caught up.
season?
I'm caught up.
I watched it last night. So they're doing 2 drops. They did 4 episodes in the first drop. The next round comes on Christmas Day. But oh my gosh, the way that last episode ended. No spoilers, but
None.
I was like squealing at the TV. I haven't yelled at the TV like that since Arya Stark stabbed the Night King.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but I will say I haven't yelled or squealed like that since I watched Avengers Endgame and when Captain America got Thor's hammer because he was worthy and then beat up Thanos. Remember that moment?
That was a good moment.
It was like one of those moments where you're like, oh my God, I can't believe it. No, it was great. I mean, Stranger Things is maybe, well, it's been going on for almost a decade. It's almost 10 years old, which is crazy. It's a fantastic show. I'm a huge fan from top to bottom, how they produced it, how it's written, and I'm very much into it. In fact, I texted you last night that I'm watching Stranger Things. You're like, oh my gosh, me too. It turned out we were watching the same episode at the same time because I guess we're connected that way now because we hang out so much.
Now they know that me asking you that was staged.
Yeah,
rude.
Sorry. Yeah,
it wasn't authentic. We planned to talk about Stranger Things because we were so excited about it. By the way, the show I referenced was Game of Thrones.
Oh, cool. That's great.
You've never watched Game of Thrones?
No. Am I supposed to?
I mean, I loved Game of Thrones, but the ending does kind of put a damper on it. But I still think it's worth it. It's really, really good.
That's how the ending of Lost was. I was so into Lost, and
Lost.
I watched the final episode and was like, man, it was just kind of a letdown personally. So, but anyway,
Understood.
Hey friends, welcome into the show. Obviously, hello to all of our friends over at Substack, tuning in, and on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, please make sure to give this stream a like, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Thursday at 12 o'clock Eastern, and we drop a pre-record every Tuesday. If you're listening on podcast, thank you so much. It means the world. Also want to say thank you. The new Evangelicals hit their fundraising goal this week for Giving Tuesday. Yay. We raised $10,000, which was matched by an anonymous donor, making it $20,000, which is great because this show is produced by the New Evangelicals, a nonprofit organization. And so it really ensures that we're walking into 2026. We're off to a great start. Obviously, we're doing our end of year giving campaign to raise even more money, but thank you so much. It means the world. What else do I have to mention? We do read all super chats live on the air. Like we got one that just came in. Someone is kind of spoiling what's coming up, but coming from a C student, I know an essay written the night before it's due when I see one. Feel better, Tim. Dulk Dogan. We'll get into that in a minute, friends. But just thank you for being here. It means the world. The New Evangelicals is a nonprofit organization that I started, helping people find a better path forward in their faith. So take a look if you're into that. Yay.
Shall we dive right in?
Oh my God, let's get into it. Jeez,
so we're going to focus on this story because I think it's it's relevant more than what's actually happening, but I think it shines a light on just kind of this Christian nationalist playbook. Now, I don't think the players involved would even identify as a Christian nationalist, and we can talk more about that in a second.
Yep.
So basically the gist is there was an Oklahoma University. Is it Oklahoma University or University of Oklahoma?
OU.
Because it says OU, but I feel like
Oklahoma University
of Oklahoma.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I live in New Jersey, so I would not know the answer to that question.
Well, I used to be a Texas Longhorn fan, so we always had a rivalry with Oklahoma. But regardless,
yeah.
A student goes to OU, and she is a psychology major. She is a junior. She was in a psychology class, and the class was asked to write a 650-word essay on reacting to an academic article about gender.
Yep.
And she submits, this is paraphrasing and we'll get into all the details, but she submits her essay. She basically says, well, transgender bad because Bible. And she got a 0.
Yeah.
For that. For the professor, the TA, the teacher assistant responded and gave reasons for why she got the 0. She then blows this up, takes it to the press and the media and the government, and now it's turned into this persecution story, and she claims she only got a 0 because she was standing up for her faith. So that is the story that Fox News and Turning Point and all these right-wing media outlets are running with. This is another proof of Christian persecution in this country.
Yep. Right.
Samantha Fulnecke is her name. She's now being branded a warrior for Christ, a Christian hero. So that's that's the headline. So I feel like it would be important for one, let's read the rubric of what was asked, and then we're going to actually read her entire paper.
Yeah. I lost her essay that I pulled.
Oh, you did?
I'll have to find it while you're talking about it. I can pull it again.
Okay. Do you have the rubric? Because you could go ahead and pull that up.
That I do have.
Okay, pull up the rubric. I'm going to read this
I can do this. Okay. The rubric. Here's the rubric.
And I have her essay too on my phone.
Oh, you do? Okay.
You can't find it. But I do think having it on the screen will be beneficial.
I agree.
Okay. So this is the rubric. This is part 1 of the rubric. The assignment says you must write a 650 words body of text, double-spaced reaction paper demonstrating that you read the assigned article and includes a thoughtful reaction to the material presented in the article. Points will be deducted when papers are deficient in any of these areas. I will deduct 10 points if your paper is between 620 and 649 words, and I will not give credit for papers under 620 words. Papers not turned in by the deadline will not receive credit. Please remember that your reaction paper should not be a summary, but rather a thoughtful discussion of some aspect of the article. Possible approaches to reaction papers include 1, a discussion of why you feel the topic is important and worthy of study or not. 2, an application of the study or results to your own experiences. And then it says there are other possibilities as well. The best reaction papers illustrate that students have read the assigned materials and engaged in critical thinking about some aspect of the article. It has formatting requirements, grading, reaction papers are graded on a 25-point scale and are evaluated based on the following. Does the paper show a clear tie-in to the assigned article? 10 points. Does the paper present a thoughtful reaction or response to the article rather than a summary? 10 points. And then is the paper clearly written? 5 points. So that was the rubric. Did you find her her dealio?
I'm so sorry, friends. I'm so out of it. I know I had it. I put it in a PDF in my folder, but now it's not there.
Yeah, I know you. I remember you showed it to me.
I did show it to you. And
also,
then
I didn't. I'm gonna read while you're still looking for it. There are actually a few more possibilities in the rubric that the Turning Point picture didn't show. So that the image we just showed was from Turning Point. Here's the rest of the rubric. So possible approaches to reaction papers include, I included the first 2. 3, an application of the study or results to observations about other behaviors. 4, linking the objectives or findings from the assigned article to other domains of development or other findings that we read about or discuss in class. 5, A suggestion for further studies or experiments that might help researchers better understand the topic being studied. 6, alternate interpretations of the researcher's findings. 7, a discussion of how development in this domain might proceed differently at other developmental stages. 8, your own thoughts about how development proceeds in the domain article.
Okay. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
So.
I got it.
That's the rubric.
Okay. So essentially what I hear a lot of is read this article, critically engage with it, offer your perspective, but critically engage with the article is the big thing.
Critically engage with, like, you need to show clearly that you read the article by saying something about the article and then either disagreeing or expounding on it.
Okay. You ready to read this bad boy?
Yes. So here is her essay.
I'm pulling up in Word. I'm sorry. It's the best I could do.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah. And I believe the article, I don't have the actual article in front of me that she was responding to. But I know it was about basically gender and bullying, and that's from like a psychology perspective. Okay. So here is her article.
Okay.
Ready? Or her essay.
Yes.
This essay was very thought-provoking.
Wait, this article or this essay? This article.
It says, she said this article.
Right. Yeah. You said essay.
I'm reading what she said.
Yeah. You said this essay.
Did I say this essay?
Yeah.
Oh,
You're good.
I really thought I said this article. Okay, well, it doesn't matter. This article was very thought-provoking and caused me to thoroughly evaluate the idea of gender and the role it plays in our society. The article discussed peers using teasing as a way to enforce gender norms. I do not necessarily see this as a problem. God made male and female and made us differently from each other on purpose and for a purpose. God is very intentional with what he makes, and I believe trying to change that would only do more harm. Gender roles and tendencies should not be considered stereotypes. Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts. The same goes for men. God created men in the image of his courage and strength, and he created women in the image of his beauty. He intentionally created women differently than men, and we should live our lives with that in mind. It is frustrating to me when I read articles like this and discussion posts from my classmates of so many people trying to conform to the same mundane opinion so they do not step on people's toes. I think that is a cowardly and insincere way to live. It is important to use the freedom of speech we have been given in this country, and I personally believe that eliminating gender in our society would be detrimental, as it pulls us farther from God's original plan for humans. It is perfectly normal for kids to follow gender stereotypes because that is how God made us. The reason so many girls want to feel womanly and care for others in a motherly way is not because they feel pressured to fit into social norms. It is because God created and chose them to reflect his beauty and his compassion in that way. In Genesis, God says that it is not good for man to be alone, so he created a helper for man, which is a woman. Many people assume the word helper in this context to be condescending and offensive to women. However, the original word in Hebrew is ezer kenegdo, and that directly translates to helper equal to. Additionally, God describes himself in the Bible using ezer kenegdo, or helper, and he describes his, no period there, Holy Spirit as our helper as well. This shows the importance God places on the role of the helper, women's roles. God does not view women as less significant than men. He created us with such intentionally, she misspelled that. He created us with such intentionally and care, and he made women in his image of being a helper and in the image of his beauty. If leaning into that role means I am quote, following gender stereotypes, end quote, then I am happy to be following a stereotype that aligns with the gifts and abilities God gave me as a woman. I do not think men and women are pressured to be more masculine or feminine. I strongly disagree with the idea from the article that encouraging acceptance of diverse gender expressions could improve students' confidence. Society pushing the lie that there are multiple genders and everyone should be whatever they want to be is demonic and severely harms American youth. I do not want kids to be teased or bullied in school. However, pushing the lie that everyone has their own truth and everyone can do whatever they want and be whoever they want is not biblical whatsoever. The Bible says that our lives are not our own, but that our lives and bodies belong to the Lord for his glory. I live my life based on this truth and firmly believe that there would be less gender issues and insecurities in children if they were raised knowing that they do not belong to themselves, but they belong to the Lord.
The end.
Hold on. I think there's more.
Is there more?
Did she say her prayer?
Is there a prayer at the end?
There is a prayer at the end. I've got the final piece. There's one final paragraph. I've got it. Overall, reading articles such as this one encouraged me to one day raise my children knowing that they have a heavenly Father who loves them and cherishes them deeply, and that having their identity firmly rooted in who he is will give them the satisfaction and acceptance that the world can never provide for them. That was one sentence. My prayer for the world, and specifically for American society and youth, is that they would not believe the lies being spread from Satan that make them believe they are better off as another gender than what God made them. I pray that they feel God's love and acceptance as who he originally created them to be.
Oh, boy. Wow. Wow, that is a doozy of an article.
That is a very poorly written paper. I was shocked when I read that. I was like, this has to be a freshman. And even for a freshman level, that is bad, that's just bad writing. I was writing better papers than that in high school.
Yeah, no, it's not very impressive. And it doesn't really meet the standard that was put out by engaging with the article. The Samantha doesn't do that at all in this piece. She goes on some rant about, and she just echoes all the right-wing Christian fundamentalist talking points, right? That don't actually add up. Mm-hmm. Like it doesn't talk about the data that we have that gender affirming care actually saves lives. It doesn't affirm any of those things. It's just dogma. Satan, the Bible, or how God designed. She doesn't even quote the Bible. Is there even one Bible verse in there?
No. That's the thing. Turning Point and Fox News, they were saying that she got a 0 for quoting the Bible. She never once quotes the Bible. She references the Bible. She says, God says this, but there's no citation or anything. And that's the thing. Like, okay, I'm a pretty well-educated person. I have my undergrad degree. I have a graduate degree. I have my master's in journalism. And I was an overachiever. Like, I was a straight A student to a fault. Like, I could not... Like, I'm not tooting my own horn. I'm just saying, like, I know how to do school. Yeah. Like, when you are responding to an article, you always at least cite the title of the article. Like, the article called da-da-da-da by whatever. Rob brings up good points. Like, she just says this article. She doesn't cite any. Like, this is written by someone that I would say is just not. Like, I don't know. It's just not academic. That is fair. Not an academic essay whatsoever. I did find the title for the article that she responded to, this according to Wikipedia, but it says it was called Relations Among Gender Typicality, Peer Relations, and Mental Health.
Okay.
All
right. So she writes this paper, air quotes. Yeah. And then she gets a grade of 0. Is that right?
She gets a grade of 0. It was a TA, teacher assistant, that gave the grade that was over it. And that's pretty normal. So a TA is typically a graduate student that is helping assist in undergrad classes as part of their education. Like my spouse is a professor and they have a TA that helps them. And sometimes they'll grade on their behalf, but I mean, every university does it differently. Every class does it differently. So Samantha gets this grade from the professor's Mel Kurth. And so this was the response. Like, I've actually felt like this was a very Like the TA did not just give a 0 with no explanation.
Right.
The TA
It's
gave
actually
a
very
0
long
and wrote this
explanation.
very long explanation for why. Okay, so here is the TA's response for why Samantha received a 0.
By the way, for those who are listening on podcasts, her name says Melkurth, parentheses, pronouns she, they. That's important for later on. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, so in the interactions and the professors, in all the screen grabs I've seen, pronouns are clearly listed behind the professor's name.
Yep.
Okay, so the TA says, please note that I am not deducting points because you have certain beliefs, but instead I am deducting points for you posting a reaction paper that does not answer the questions for this assignment, contradicts itself, heavily uses personal ideology over empirical evidence in a scientific class, and is at times offensive. While you are entitled to your own personal beliefs, there is an appropriate time or place to implement them in your reflections. I encourage all students to question or challenge the course material with other empirical findings or testable hypotheses, but using your own personal beliefs to argue against the findings of not only this article, but the findings of countless articles across psychology, biology, sociology, etc., is not best practice. You argue that abiding by normative gender roles is beneficial. It is perfectly fine to believe this, but to then say that everyone should act the same while also saying that people aren't pressured into gendered expectations is contradictory, especially since your arguments reflect a religious pressure to act in gender stereotypical ways. I noticed that in her paper too.
Right.
You can say that strict gender norms don't create gender stereotypes, but that isn't true by definition of what a stereotype is. Please note that acknowledging gender stereotypes does not immediately denote a negative connotation, a nuance that this article discusses. Additionally, to call an entire group of people demonic is highly offensive, especially a minoritized population. You are entitled to your own beliefs, but this isn't a vague narrative of, quote, society pushes lies, end quote, but instead the result of countless years developing psychological and scientific evidence for these claims and directly interacting with the communities involved. You may personally disagree with this, but that doesn't change the fact that every major psychological, medical, pediatric, and psychiatric association in the United States acknowledges that biologically and physiologically, sex and gender is neither binary nor fixed. I implore you, apply some more perspective and empathy in your work. If you personally disagree with the findings, then by all means share your criticisms, but make sure to do so in a way that is appropriate and using the methodology of empirical psychology as aligned with the learning goals in this class. If you have any additional questions or concerns about this or would like some additional educational resources, I would be happy to discuss this further and provide you with them.
This is a really eloquent response that is detailed, has cites evidence, gives a path forward, leaves the door open for discussion. She did a great job.
And I feel like too. So you mentioned too the professor she they. So the TA pronouns clearly say she they.
Yep.
In their info in their name.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that was a very kind response actually from reading an article that she basically called that TA demonic.
Yeah. And also she points out with empirical evidence how her own essay is contradictory, how it doesn't cite actual evidence. She does a great job of separating, hey, you can believe whatever you want, but in this class, here's what I'm asking you to do. And you did not meet that requirement, right? So that's important. Now, the other TA also wrote, right, a comment supporting this?
No, not the other TA. So, yeah, so the actual professor.
Oh, okay, Megan.
Megan Waldron is the actual instructor that's over the course. So the TA would work under her. So the TA then sent it to the professor because I guess she got pushed back. So Samantha pushed back on the grade. So the actual professor over the course responded, and this is what she said. Samantha, I am the other instructor for this course, and I have also taken the time to read your paper. I concur with Mel on the grade you received. This paper should not be considered as a completion of the assignment. Everyone has different ways in which they see the world, but in an academic course such as this, you are being asked to support your ideas with empirical evidence and higher level reasoning. I find it concerning that you state at the beginning of your paper that you do not think bullying teasing is a bad thing. In addition, your paper directly and harshly criticizes your peers and their opinions, which are just as valuable as yours. Disagreeing with others is fine, but there is a respectful way to go about it. That goes for discussion posts as well as reaction papers. Please employ more thoughtfulness in your future assignments.
There you go. Very cordial, very polite. Again, just the reasons why this happened make sense. I mean, when you write an essay in a scientific class, just essentially regurgitating what you learned in high control fundamentalist Christianity, it's not going to hold up because you're not citing evidence, you're not citing data, you're citing opinion about what you think the Bible might or might not say about a topic, which it's actually very quiet on. There's actually nothing in the Bible that talks about transgenderism or gender fluidity. It's foreign to the text.
They use the creation story is typically what they use. God created male and female, but we can go into the theology of that. But here's the thing, she didn't even quote that.
Right.
She didn't. I think there's a world in which she doesn't get a 0 if she actually cited the Bible, because I've cited the Bible in academic papers before, but it was to back up a point I was making of what the Bible said and interpretations and all of that. You can't just go in and say, the Bible says this without at minimal, at least citing where it says that.
This is someone asked in the chat if this is seminary. No, this is not seminary or a seminary class.
University.
Which is why I don't think even citing the Bible, she should have gotten credit for that, because the Bible's not an empirical data point. The Bible is not that. This is the fatal mistake that modern evangelicalism commits. They take the Bible and they made it their own empirical data set. They've essentially taken an ancient text that took a long time to collect and that has been debated for millennia, and they've said, this is our scientific standard. That's a horrible scientific standard, because the Bible's not claiming to be that. The Bible is not claiming to be an empirical data set of gender or sex or anything else. So even if she did cite the Bible, it's still a terrible argument. It's a terrible argument. Just wanted to say that.
And I think just let's take Christianity out of it for a moment, because I think we all have presuppositions and feelings about Christianity on either side. But let's just imagine that the assignment was to talk about, I don't know, the peer pressure to drink sparkling water. It's stupid, right? Let's just say it was the peer pressure to drink sparkling water. And a student writes a paper that says, well, I disagree that people are pressured to drink sparkling water because there are stereotypes. And really, this book that I read called The Libel says that people who drink sparkling water are demonic and are just believing lies from some bad guy. I don't know. We would all totally be on board with that article, with that essay receiving a 0, because 100%. That doesn't make any sense. And there are plenty of people that don't believe that drinking sparkling water is a sin. Now, obviously, I'm exaggerating for a point, but that is not what academia does. No. And I just want to say too, with the whole Charlie Kirk, what Charlie Kirk did on college campuses and the war that he made with college, and then the martyrdom that a lot of Christians feel on college campuses has really made professors feel like they are walking on eggshells. And I know this is, I'm married to a professor. The power dynamic has shifted now, because when I went to college, I remember, and I went to Christian schools, mind you. I went to all Christian colleges and Christian high school, and I was prepared to, when you go into a classroom, the professor knows more than you. You are there to learn from the professor. You get whatever grade the professor gives you. You cite your evidence. You always back up your sources, and your opinions do not matter. You are there to learn.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
And I remember being taught from high school, it's going to be hard. You are going to fail. And I there were, do you remember seeing those?
Which is the
old
point,
movies?
by the way. That's the point of college.
Do you remember seeing those old movies where you go into college and the professor's look to your left, look to your right. 2 of you are not going to make it in this class. You're going to fail. You know, hilarious. And the pendulum now is totally swung
Yep.
And now all of these Christian students feel emboldened because for their entire life, they've been told secular professors are out to brainwash you. You've got to stand up to secular professors. Like Beecher said, God's not dead.
Yep.
That movie, the whole premise is a Christian going into a college, having an atheist professor that's trying to convince you that God's not real. Like, and that's just not the reality. Like, it's just.
Well, what's interesting too is it's such a coddling, right? Like, isn't it funny how that world is like, look, we don't need no government handouts. You pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. You be a tough man. You be a tough Christian, braving the storm. And the second a student gets a bad grade for a bad paper, oh, you're under attack. You poor thing. We have to defend your freedom. What kind of freedom? The student was allowed to write the paper. She wrote the paper. And the professor gave her a failing grade and cited the reasons why. So what happens next, April? Let's continue on with the story. I want to know.
Okay. Okay. So this is where I think is very telling.
Go ahead.
Do you not know who she first contacted the same day that she gets this 0 and the responses from the TA and the other instructor?
Okay.
Her first email, and this is according to, I mean, this story is all over the place, but Inside Higher Ed News.
Okay.
Because there's been a theme happening of other very conservative Christian students basically trying to catch their professors and make it a huge national story. Like that's something that's been happening a lot lately. Yeah. She first contacted the governor of Oklahoma.
What? And did he respond?
Her first email. He did respond. He responded publicly in a tweet.
Oh, I had that.
That is so.
Let me pull that up here.
Governor Kevin Stitt.
Hold on.
What is the governor doing where he can immediately go to bat for a random college student's 25-point essay grade?
This is why we wrote in our thumbnail. What was the what do we put in our thumbnail again? Something about
premeditated persecution.
Yeah, and this is also why I told you offline, April. I'm like, you've heard of making of a murderer. This is making of a martyr. Something is suspicious here, because I'll tell you what, some rando college student in a school doesn't email the governor of the state and get a response right away, and then get a public tweet from the governor in support, calling it a First Amendment issue. Something is so sus about this whole situation. Highly, it feels like it was planned, coordinated, and that's how it feels.
I 100%. I mean, it's a theory, but I think she intentionally wrote that in an inflammatory way, hoping she would get a bad grade so that she could do this exact thing. Because who on earth gets a bad grade and thinks, who needs to hear about this? The governor of my state.
I'm going to go even deeper, though. I'm going to say that. Well, first off, do you want to tell people who her mother was or is?
Do we want to go there already?
I think we have to.
Let's read what the governor said first.
Okay.
He's here. So Governor Kevin Stitt gets this email, somehow has time to respond to a random college student. He says, the First Amendment is foundational to our freedom and inseparable from a well-rounded education. The situation at OU is deeply concerning. I'm calling on the OU regents to review the result of the investigation and ensure other students aren't unfairly penalized for their beliefs.
This is
so
wild.
She says she got a 0 because she was just standing up for her faith. But here's the thing. I don't know why they're making it a First Amendment issue. Because she was clearly allowed to say her opinion.
That's what I'm saying. The First Amendment guarantees you freedom of speech and freedom of consequence from the government giving you consequences. Meaning, if the governor was a radical Marxist leftist, which he's obviously not, he couldn't put her in prison for that paper because she has the First Amendment right to free speech. We're not talking about that. We're talking about what an educational institution gave her for a grade in response to her words. But what they're going to do here is they're going to make this a First Amendment issue, and it's really not. This is such a textbook play. It's straight out of their playbook, right? They do this all the time. Anything that makes them feel uncomfortable, anytime something like this happens, where someone cites an issue regarding trans people or trans quote unquote ideology, it becomes a First Amendment issue if that person gets any kind of consequence from a private institution or educational institution. It's so frustrating to watch it happen in real time. It's crazy.
And it takes no critical thinking whatsoever. You go in there, you can say, this is the Christian nationalist playbook, mind you, because I was taught from a young age that Christians were persecuted, especially in public schools.
Of course.
And like, I tried to be persecuted. I had a very similar situation. I was in 7th grade, mind
What'd
you.
you do?
I feel like I probably wrote a better paper than she did in 7th grade. But regardless, I was in 7th grade. And I was going to a public school for the first time, and I was so excited because I had been homeschooled up until this point. You can't really be persecuted when everyone around you are your brothers and they're already Christians, right?
That's my story too. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but I was so excited. I literally was so excited because I got to stand up for my faith in public school. And I remember my English teacher gave an assignment on how to make schools safer, because this was in the wake of Columbine, right? It was like a year after Columbine. And I, beyond fantasizing about being shot in school, which we've talked about that before, but I went in, I wrote a paper basically on the way to keep schools safe from school shootings was to put God back in school. I wrote a whole paper on how we needed to put prayer back in school, how we needed to put the Bibles back in school, like how that was how we would keep schools safe, right? I didn't say this out loud, but I thought that my teacher had to have been an atheist because he was teaching at a public school, even though I was in Texas. And I was just like ready to get that 0 so that I would then be able to be like that Christian hero that like, well, I stood up for my faith and I got a bad grade, but it was worth it because I stood up for Jesus, right?
That's right.
So I go in there, I write this.
You took a stand.
Paper. I took a stand. I even quoted Carmen. Do you remember that old Carmen song, America Again? There's this one line where he goes, you want to see kids live right? Stop handing out condoms and start handing out the word of God in school. And it's like, the only hope for America is Jesus.
Oh my God.
Anyway, I quote that line, right? About condoms and Bibles. And I get, it's time for the teacher to hand out the papers, right? And this is my moment. My heart is pounding. I'm like, this is it. I'm about to be persecuted. I know I got a bad grade.
This is it.
He passes me. He hands out all the papers, skips me. And I'm like, oh, he's going to publicly call me out. This is even better.
Perfect.
And he says, I saved April's for last. And I'm like, oh, here it comes. Here it comes. I'm finally going to get persecuted. And he says, I'm not lying. He says, I saved hers for last because she wrote exactly what I was looking for. Hers is the perfect example. Me? Yeah, she's like, she got the highest grade in the class. In fact, it was so good that I want her to read it out loud for all of you right now.
Wow.
Turns out he was a Christian.
A Christian conservative for sure.
Yeah, and so I read the whole paper. So now I'm like, oh my gosh, now I get to witness to my entire class and try to convert my entire class. Like, this is like, oh, this is going to be my story I tell forever. So I get up and read it. No one cheered really. I got like maybe a couple of claps in the back. Like, I mean, it's 7th grade. They don't really care. I did hear a couple snickers. I didn't really understand what that was about, but it was middle school. And so I started hearing rumblings afterwards of people like talking about my paper. And I thought, oh my gosh, what are they calling me? Like, you know, like God. Bible Betty. And like, you know, I got some kind of Christian nickname now. Do you want to know what they were calling me?
What?
Condom girl.
That's hilarious.
And
Condom girl.
You want to know what's funny? That was out of my whole thing. That was all they took because I said condoms in a paper. And I didn't even know what a condom was.
Oh my God. Sheltered. Oh my God. Well, I never had the fortunate privilege of being persecuted for my faith in public school because I was homeschooled and then went to a very small private school. So I dreamt about it. I did do the See You at the Pole every year, and I prayed for our country. So
I was in Youth Alive, Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Oh yeah.
All the
So
anyway, all that to say is that you were trained for this.
Yeah.
You were trained for this. And I think when you see her mother is, it all makes sense. Her mother is Christy Fulnecki out of Springfield, Missouri. She is an
Which, by the way, is a Christian fundamentalist like hub. Anywhere in Missouri is a huge hub of people like that. Like a lot of organizations are there. A lot of like Christian organizations are there. The biggest charismatic church in America is there. I think James River. So it's a huge hotbed.
Yes. So her mom is an attorney. She has represented, I think, two January 6ers for their participation in the insurrection.
Wow.
She also was a big lawyer during, she fought a lot of the mask mandates and said that those were like kind of persecution in and of itself, and was going against people's rights. So that's her mom. Her mom has been,
Well, that's why I think this is planned. I think
100%.
Here's my hypothesis. And by the way, friends, if you're watching on live stream on YouTube, please give this video a like. It really helps get it out to more people. 62 likes, 200 people watching. Come on, we can do better. I promise.
Know you can like it.
Hit that like button. It costs nothing. Here's my hypothesis as a former, fundamentalist. I think, what's this person's name again? What's her name?
Christy Fulnecki.
I think Christy and her daughter told her mom, hey, one of my professors or TAs is a trans person. And then they plotted and waited for the right time to try and get a reaction out of them for this essay. And then Christy used her connections to kind of plan what would happen if this thing went awry, right? Meaning if she got a bad grade or if she got any kind of pushback, how she could leverage her connections to kind of blow this thing up and become the next, almost like Riley Gaines. You know how Riley Gaines was a swimmer who tied for 5th place? Yep. 5th place and blew up the story. And by the way, an article came out doing a deep dive into Riley Gaines' trajectory. She had major funding behind her, like the Betsy DeVoe types. They poured money into who she was to create this person that never actually existed. This is what they do. The right-wing media infrastructure looks for things like this, and then they will twist the narrative in their favor. They'll put them on Fox News. They'll put them all around their little circuit, claiming persecution, claiming all these things to then make this person the newest martyr. That's what this is. It's a planned persecution because these
100%.
people have a persecution kink, April, because you and I had a persecution kink. I practiced with my friends to be in the underground church. One time we cut the power in someone's house. We built cardboard tunnels. We had to sneak in on our stomach and smuggle in Bibles and have a church service in pitch black by candlelight, pretending that we were the persecuted church.
For the Lincoln Square audience or anyone here that is confused about, you want to be persecuted? Let me explain theologically why. Because in the Bible, Jesus says, the world will hate you like it hated me. And it says, blessed are the persecuted. So there's this teaching of as long as you are standing up for your faith, you will be hated. You will be persecuted. That can be hard to come by in a nation where the vast majority of our Congress and presidents and anyone in our government has claimed some form of Christianity. So what do? You got to make it up.
You got to make it up.
You got to make it up. You got to find ways to be persecuted. So this is actually part of a Christian nationalist playbook, right? You do something that is so inflammatory and offensive, like calling an entire group of people demonic in a college paper.
Yep.
And then when you get that, because you want to rise, you want to get that rise out of them.
You want to get the rise. That's right.
When that rise initially comes, then you say, oh, well, I was just standing up for my faith. You hate God. You hate Christianity. I'm being persecuted. And then you get to go and be a hero in your Christian circles. You get to basically feel like you are doing Christianity. You're a good Christian because you got pushback without having to actually follow the teachings of Jesus. Because as we're going to see in a second, these people have no problem celebrating killing innocent people or deporting innocent people. But
that's the great irony.
An essay.
Right.
A bad grade. And then here's the thing. It's not like this was 50% of her grade. This was a 25.1 assignment.
Look, these are the same people who say nothing about Christian immigrants, being persecuted by this government. They have nothing to say about that, as we're kidnapping them from their homes, ripping them from their children. That's fine. Make America great again, right? But a student gets a bad grade for writing a shitty paper with no empirical evidence or data. She just recites dogma, and suddenly it's like, this is it. We're under attack. Like you said, April, what do you do when you are the empire? What do you do when your people control the American system, when you're in the government, when you have shaped everything? Well, you have to make shit up to keep becoming the victims that you claim you aren't, right?
It's like if you believe that God tells you to go up and punch everybody with blonde hair.
Right.
And when finally someone punches you back,
right.
you say, oh, how dare you? I was just doing what I believed God told me to do. Like, no, you're actively like punching people in the face.
Right.
You're being held accountable because you are hurting other people, not because of your beliefs. Yeah. It's because of your actions and what you do. Like, they're actively taking rights away from trans people.
Well, and also, you're not standing on truth. That's the other thing that really gets me is this world. Oh, and we're going to play an interview of Samantha on Fox News here in a second. She'll say over and over, truth, standing on truth. You're not standing on truth. You're not standing on truth. You're standing on dogma. They have replaced that word. They have reinvented the word truth to mean dogma. And for them, empirical data is not true. Their dogma is true. It's unbelievable. Do you want to go ahead and get to this?
Yeah. So she's a hero now, Samantha.
Oh, yeah.
She's been on Fox News.
The book deal is coming. The book deal is totally coming.
She just spoke at the Oklahoma CPAC event yesterday where she received an award, which we'll get to that in a second. But here she is talking on Fox News because this 25-point essay is national news worthy for some reason. You're muted.
Sorry, I'm coughing. I was going to say, I know, I'm a little under the weather, folks. I was going to say that, again, this is what matters for Fox News, right? It's not the fact that healthcare premiums are going to skyrocket next year because of the quote unquote big beautiful bill. It's not that wages are stagnant. It's not that the ultra rich is getting richer. It's not that we are, like we said earlier, kidnapping immigrants. Or that we're attacking clergy members who are peacefully protesting. No. That's not what is important here. What's important here is getting this girl on this Fox News show to push a narrative that is complete delulu. These people live in alternate reality. Here we go.
On over this. A pre-med college student at the University of Oklahoma given a 0 for a paper she had to write about gender. She cited the Bible to back her belief in the idea that there are traditional gender roles and two genders.
To be clear.
That didn't fly with the transgender TA who gave her a 0 and told her that she lacks empathy. The student filed a discrimination report. The university says it takes First Amendment rights seriously, starting a formal grade appeal process, and the university, OU, placed on leave the TA. So joining me now is the student at the center.
That's crazy, by the way.
Samantha Fulnecki. Samantha, thanks for being with us here today. I read the criteria for the answer that you had to give. It didn't seem to match at all the criticism the TA gave of your paper.
Yes, it did.
Can we just stop there? The reason why April and I took the time to read the rubric, to read the entire essay, to read the TA's comments is so you can smell the bullshit when people like this say things that you now know are so not true. The rubric was very clear. Samantha did not meet the rubric's requirements. The TA gave detailed instructions why she got the grade that she did. But for this Fox News host, no. Guys, just trust him. He read the rubric. It was totally in line with her essay. They want you to be sheep. They want you to believe that these people are truth tellers. It's wild to watch it in real time.
And she is living her best life because of that grade.
Oh, yeah.
She's going to she's probably going to be the next turning point figurehead. She's making a press tour right now. Who knows?
Book is
she
coming.
Might get a book deal out of
the book is coming.
Yeah.
Look, make no mistake. This girl, if they can work the schedule out, will be at America Fest, Turning Point USA's America Fest in a few months. Not even a freaking question. She's going to live her best life. She'll be a hero in her circles, all while claiming persecution. That's the great irony about this, right? Is this persecution? You go on national television on a major cable news network, being able to share your opinion freely while people applaud you? This is your version of persecution? They live in the upside down. They live in a world that is so ass backwards.
I do hope if she gets a book deal, though, that she has a ghostwriter, because based on that essay,
it's funny.
Yeah, not at all. I was told to give my opinion on gender stereotypes and gender norms, so that's what I did. I didn't think that was me needing to be brave or have courage. I thought I was just sharing my opinion like I was asked to do, so that's what I did. And I talked about the Bible and what God says about gender norms and about how there are two genders and things like that. And the response I got back was a 0 on that paper, and the TA saying that my writing was offensive and that I needed more empathy.
You're muted again.
Dang it. Sorry about that. because you call people demonic. That's one reason. But can I just say one minor thing? This is a little more in the weeds here. Theologically, in the Bible, there are more than two genders. Eunuchs are in the Bible, and they were seen as kind of like a third way. First off, let's be clear. The Bible has no modern notions of gender because it didn't exist in the ancient world. Let's just start from that foundation, okay? It's not how they don't see sexuality or gender the same exact way that we do for a lot of reasons. But eunuchs were a type of third way. They were not fully male, not fully female. So even that notion that the Bible is clear that there are only two genders isn't even true. Jesus says, I wish all of you were more like the eunuchs. That's what gets me, April, is that it's not even like their original claim is truthful. They just lie. They lie about everything. They're ignorant. Oh, God.
Well, and then Galatians also says there's neither male nor female.
Uh-oh. Wait,
like
they're not non-binary? Oh, I don't know about that. Oh, goodness.
I'm just saying, like, the idea that the way that they talk about, like, oh, the Bible is clear. The reason why she didn't cite the Bible is because there was nothing in the Bible for her to cite. The thing that they use the most is the creation story. And just to clarify, I just want to give a theological interpretation of that from Jewish people, because that was their text first.
Yeah, right. It's
the
Hebrew Bible.
Right. And so what I love this about the Jewish tradition is they believe in this thing called Miriism, which is that the creation story describes a spectrum, not a binary. So because it says like God created land and sea. Right. But that doesn't mean that swamplands don't exist or marshes don't exist.
Right.
So when it's describing land and sea, it also is saying and everything in between that God created. God created night and day, but sunsets exist. Dawn and dusk exist. So it's not saying those things don't exist because it only mentions night and day. And it's the same thing. God created male and female and everything in between. So that is a belief in Jewish tradition. And it was their text first. But evangelicals come along and try to make everything this dogmatic, black and white, good versus evil. Like, and that's the hard thing about this ideology, as someone who comes from it, is it's just you're either on God's side or you're on the side of Satan.
That's right.
There's no in between. So it's how they can look at someone who's actually a very kind and good person, but if you don't actually share their beliefs, you are of Satan.
100%. You're right on the money.
Yeah, I looked at the criteria and it said something like don't summarize the article that you were responding to and have original thoughts and opinions, all of which you did. But then the TA came back and said not backed by science and medicine.
True.
That you were offensive, right? In your idea that what? There are men and there are women?
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I wrote about, is that there's men and there's women, and God created us equally with different gifts and abilities, and that our society is better off living with that structure and that idea in mind. And yeah.
And are you happy with how it's being handled?
Yeah. What?
God created us with different gifts and abilities. She never explained what those differences were. She just said women want to do womanly things. She mentions being a mother.
Yeah. And
being beautiful. And beyond that, she didn't even describe, like she never backed up any of her points. And I think had she tried to back up her points, she wouldn't have gotten a 0. She just was like throwing random things at the wall.
Just wild.
Without any substance whatsoever. Also,
that's her response? Jesus.
Like, oh my gosh.
Go ahead. Go off, April.
Stupid.
Go off.
What the crap is a womanly thing? I grew up, I was a tomboy as a kid. I wasn't interested in like cooking or cleaning. Honestly, I still am not. That's not my thing. My spouse, Beecher, is a much better cook than me. Naturally. I am naturally going to burn food because I'm not good at it and I don't enjoy it. What does that mean? Did God make a mistake when he made me? Because I don't naturally want to do womanly things?
Right.
Like that, but like at a very baseline, it's just stupid. There's so many different types of men and women, even in a binary standard.
That's stupid. What was the one comment by Meg? She said, you are being asked to support your ideas with empirical evidence and higher level reasoning. This is low level reasoning. It's low level. Look, I'm not trying to be rude to Samantha, but this is like bottom of the barrel reasoning. You're not using like critical thinking. You're not actually thinking through your positions. You're not citing the reasons why, besides you just saying things. Like it's like when Michael Scott declares bankruptcy. It's like, dude, you can say that. It doesn't mean anything. This is just a bunch of hot air over and over and over.
I want to read that. I just want to read. This is just a bad sentence. Okay? I want to reread this one. Women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our hearts.
What's a womanly thing?
I don't know. And then she goes, the same goes for men. Now, if you're reading something in context, you could read that as saying men also want to do womanly things. Like if you're actually reading it in a way that her sentences are written, because it's just a poorly written article. This is like, I think my 9-year-old could write a better paper than this, honestly.
Probably.
Women naturally want, it just pisses me off. Like, take some freaking accountability. You did not get a 0 because you were standing up for your faith. You got a 0 because you were a terrible writer and you were a junior in college. Where is your shame? How did you post that publicly and think that people would come to your side? That is terrible writing. It hurts my head.
You're
and
such
my
an
heart
academic nerd.
to even read this. No kidding. Like I know. It just really bothers me.
No,
as someone who is a writer, it's just bad.
It's bad.
It's bad. And for her to be like, I know, I was just standing up for God, and look at this really bad grade that I got because I just love Jesus. It's never bad to stand up for Jesus. I'm like, you wrote, women naturally want to do womanly things because God created us with those womanly desires in our heart. That is just a bad sentence.
Also, it's kind of like you're not really repping Jesus very well, if that's how you write. You know, like, don't make Jesus look bad.
I was also taught whatever you do it with excellence, Samantha.
Exactly.
Where's the excellence?
Yeah, no, there's no excellence here.
I could defend a binary gender roles better than that. I
100%,
wouldn't, but 100%. I could.
Isn't it interesting how the people who are all about personal accountability now, look, don't look at your terrible writing. It's all the bad professor's fault because they were trans. It's a paradox, right? Of like victimhood and also you're a conqueror at the same time. Like, you know, you're so powerful and strong, but also you're a victim of big bad woke culture.
Can I say who the actual victim is in this situation? Is the trans TA that got put on administrative leave.
It's crazy.
For backing up that grade.
And the school came out and said that grade will not go against her and her total score for the year. She is
facing 0 consequences.
0
for this now, and she's still playing the persecution card. She's been elevated to a hero. Like, this is the best thing that could ever happen to her, and she's still out there being like, "Oh, woe is me."
Oh, you know what? Hold on, we have our first troll in a long time here on the show. I find it disgusting how you two are mocking and judging a child's faith. She can present her religion any way she wants. She doesn't deserve a 0. Harry, you're right. She can present her faith however she wants, but she can get a bad grade for doing a shitty job. And she did. Yeah. She did. Like, I'm not sure why this is complicated. Bible. Also, she's not a child. She's an adult. Like, she's probably in what? If you're in, is she in grad school?
No, it's an undergrad, but she's a junior in undergrad.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. By the time you're a junior, the professor doesn't hold your hand anymore. I mean, they barely do a freshman year anyway, but like they're not going to hold your hand.
Right.
And by the time you're a junior, you don't have to be handheld and told, make sure you back up your claims. Like, that's a given.
Right.
You are in academia, girl.
Exactly. You're I mean, to cite a nerd analogy, it's kind of like in Mighty Ducks 3 when they try their flying V against the varsity team and they get demolished and the coach is like, hey, your little pee-wee tricks aren't going to work anymore. It's the same thing here. Like, hey, your little kindergarten, Sunday school, small town conservative theology is not going to hold up against empirical data and critical thinking. So you have to evolve. You have to get beyond thinking that this book that you hold in your hand called the Bible in English somehow is the moral authority for all of life that every human being must submit to, because somehow you hit the cosmic jackpot and you just happen to have the secret to all of life that no one else has. Like, at some point, you got to get beyond that and realize the world's a lot bigger than your little pigeonhole of a world that you grew up in. And your bubble has to get popped. And it's uncomfortable. And it's not fun. And it's hard. But guess what? That's how you become a better freaking human. What you don't do is you double down and then claim persecution when you write a shitty-ass essay grammatically and content-wise.
I also just want to point out, too, that comment that referred to her as a child. That is another huge problem in this world of the infantilizing of white women. Yeah. Where they could do no wrong and you have to be a hero and come in and save them. Where like black women, like a black child could go out and do something and they would refer to her as a woman if she did something bad. Totally. Like, that drives me crazy too. But anyway.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Now by OU.
At first I wasn't. They didn't tell me that they were going to do anything to resolve the issue. I didn't know that the TA was put on administrative leave until they released a statement on X saying that they had done that and that they take these situations very seriously. I didn't know that they were going to take the situation seriously.
I don't believe that for a second.
I don't know if that's because it blew up on social media and that's what caused them to act on it that way.
Yeah, my mom represented January 6ers, but hey, what would I know? I
had no idea when I contacted the governor that it would blow up. Like, why did you contact the governor, girl?
And when Turning Point USA Oklahoma blew it up and covered it, I had no idea. Give me a break, dude. It's so obvious.
But when they were in contact with me, it didn't seem to me like they were going to do anything about it.
All right. Well, Samantha, we wish you the best of luck. We wish OU the best of luck and every other
student goes viral for a 0 grade on gender paper.
I just want to say where I think the TA went wrong. Like, okay, I'm going to just like, here's my opinion on why I think what I think the TA should have done. I actually don't think they did anything wrong, for the record. I think she absolutely deserved a 0. She did not follow the assignment. But I think the TA should have read the room a little bit to see what was happening in the country, because there's been plenty of other teachers that have been put in similar situations, especially on trans and gender issues. I think maybe the better option where this wouldn't have blown up into what it has is to give her that feedback, give her the chance to redo the paper, or at least give her like, I don't know, a 4. Do you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there was a way that she could have got that pushback where she didn't just run. Like, I think for the record, I think she deserved 0 if we weren't living in such a backwards world where there's such the tensions are just so high. But anyway, that's the only thing that I think the TA could have done differently.
I'll be honest, you know this, academia is not my world. I went to college for 2 years and then dropped out. But I would imagine if you're a junior, it's like, look, like, you know how this goes. Like, you've had plenty of chances to be taught how to follow assignments. But maybe you're right. I mean, maybe she should have had her redo the paper. But again, it wouldn't have changed the narrative, right? Then it would have been, and then my teacher told me I could redo the paper, but I stood true to my faith. I wasn't going to compromise and write things that I knew weren't true. So it's the same, no matter what, all paths lead to this scenario where white evangelical fundamentalism, Christian nationalism has their newest hero to prop up as the newest victim of woke culture. That's all this is.
No, I agree. And there's a world, and no matter what the TA did, she would have elevated this because
100%.
Because of that. I will say a lot of the pushback that I've seen from MAGA is like, how is that to deserve a 0? You at least turned it in. Like, I don't know. What that would be my only thing that I would have done differently. I will say, I don't know. It's getting late. We're spending a lot of time on this.
I figured we were going to. Do you want to
show another video of her? She did an interview with the local news where she claimed she had no idea that the professor was trans.
Oh, yeah. And this one? Yeah, it's this one here. I have it. Yep.
Yeah.
Then we'll start moving on. Also, we have super chats to read at some point.
We'll get, okay.
Friends, if you're just joining the stream, thanks so much for being here. Please make sure to give this video a like. It helps get it out to more and more people. If you're watching on Substack, Thank you so much for being here. It means the world. We love doing this. I have a cough drop in my mouth. Hopefully that will help me from coughing so much. So if you hear some noise, that's what it is. All right, here we go.
Tonight, we're hearing from the OU student who took her 0 grade to the governor. Samantha Fulnecki is a psychology junior who says she received a 0 grade for citing the Bible in her opinion-based essay on gender binary labels. Fox 25's Rob Hagan live at the OU campus with more on the paper that's grabbed the nation's attention. Rob, what have you found out in your conversations today?
Adam, Samantha says that she's been receiving hate comments on social media for citing God as a source in her essay, but she's staying strong. And this is her story.
I'm sorry. I just gotta laugh. The right-wing media world sends people to say the nastiest things to other people. April, that's happened to you. You've gone viral and gotten hate, death threats.
I know. It's
scary. But all of a sudden, Samantha, the poor girl, is now a victim because she wrote a horrible essay. Oh God, it's so one-sided. It's just frustrating.
It's the 650-word essay on gender binaries for a 2000-level psych class at OU based on opinion, which received a 0 grade for bringing God into the discussion. Now, the pre-med student who brought her paper to the governor sharing what she's learned.
My main goal in this is to encourage other Christians to stand up for their beliefs.
Samantha Fulnecki says she received a perfect grade on every assignment in the online course she says is taught by 2 teaching assistants until this one.
I didn't know that the TA was transgender or about his personal beliefs or anything like that.
So first off, I don't believe that because as we demonstrated, it has her pronouns in her name. Also,
and her pronouns say she, they.
Yeah.
And she is intentionally misgendering.
Yes, totally. Brutal.
Which is just rude. Like,
So
if
rude.
you didn't know they were trans, how did you know? Why would you assume he? Because her name is Mel, which is pretty gender neutral.
Yep.
I just did the assignments and turned them in and went about my day. So there hadn't been any tension in the past until we were asked to do an assignment over this topic.
She says school administration decided not to change the 0 on the assignment, but it won't be counted towards her final grade. Now the student who's Comanche, hoping to be a pediatrician in a Native American hospital, is receiving both praise.
Yikes. Are you serious?
Yeah, I would not trust her.
Wait till she learns about Two-Spirit.
Oh, gosh.
And indigenous culture.
And hate from the masses.
A lot of people have taken things from the Bible and twisted it against me and just saying things about how I'm going to hell and my judgment will await me one day.
Fulnecki has caught the attention of the national spotlight and the attention of the Oklahoma Freedom Caucus.
It's about a state-funded, taxpayer-funded institution allowing their faculty members to abridge or impede a student's right to express their faith.
The teaching assistant says Fulnecki did not provide empirical evidence to back her claims using a proven psychological scientific methodology. Now the TA is put on paid administrative leave, and Fulnecki says they will not grade her work in the future.
I pointed out that I didn't say anywhere that I needed evidence, and his response was, no, that's the grade you deserve.
It's understood that you need evidence.
Imagine thinking that's your slam dunk response. Well, you didn't say I needed evidence to prove my claims. What?
So I can't.
Senator Shane Jett is demanding a meeting with the OU president for what he calls a war on faith on this campus. And as for Samantha, she's going to be a guest speaker tomorrow at the Oklahoma History Center, along with former state superintendent Ryan Walters. Live at the OU campus in Norman, Rob Hagan, Fox 25 News.
It's really unbelievable, man. It's
so
unbelievable.
Stupid. So yeah, she spoke yesterday at this event that was put on by Oklahoma CPAC. Ryan Walters was there, and she was awarded a citation of recognition from the Oklahoma House of Representatives, and they gave her a little certificate that she held. Look, there she is, holding it up. She's for standing up for her faith.
It pays to be persecuted in America.
No, that's why she did this.
It pays. She has not. again, what an inversion of the term, right? Persecution is not you get to be paraded around, make a lot of money, go on tours, and get celebrated as a hero. Persecution is someone targets you for your faith and hurts you.
Yeah, it's the same thing that happened to Judge Roy Moore back in Alabama, where he refused to take off the 10 Commandments. And then I can't remember if he resigned or he got fired because he was being very partial, obviously. Yeah. And then he gets a book tour, a book deal. It goes on tour. He becomes this Christian hero. Obviously, this is before all the scandals came out later when he ran for the Senate. But like that's like the Christian Nationalist playbook. Your persecution means you get a book deal, which is insulting to Christians globally that are actually persecuted and are actually killed.
And also it's their version of persecution is you did not succumb to my dogma. Yeah. Therefore, I'm being persecuted because you won't let me essentially erase who you are as a person. Wait, what do you mean I can't call you demonic in an academic paper and not cite my sources? You're persecuting me. No, you're just being an asshole who's also not citing sources. Like, also, that's what's actually going on here.
How can she be, like, she spent a whole essay where she's twisting scripture without quoting scripture to demonize an entire group of people, and then she's like, people are twisting scripture against me. And like,
because people have to...
Oh, how's it feel?
If you're watching this on Substack, or maybe you're, like, new to the show, you have to understand, like, from the time you are a young child all the way through, you're given this narrative that everyone outside of this bubble that you live in hates you. They hate you, and they want to see you destroyed. But what they don't tell you is that the reason why so many people are hostile towards your brand of Christianity is because your brand of Christianity is insisting that it has a right to swing its fists in the face of other people. That's the problem. No one is saying you can't believe what you want. You and your church can organize how you want. Do what you want. The problem is that this world, it has a massive billion-dollar war chest of a fist and is doing everything it can to erode the rights of other people that want nothing to do with your brand of Christianity, right? And so, I mean, think about it like this, right? Right now, I'll put it in a whole different light to really drive this point home. Right now, April, I'm sure you've been hearing about, the threat of radical Islam. It's kind of coming back in some of these, evangelical circles. We have to be, the threat of Islam. Well, imagine if there was a $1 billion war chest of a Muslim group that was insisting it be able to replace American law with its version of Muslim law or Sharia law, whatever it would be. And then imagine when people fought back, they claimed persecution for not being able to enforce their version of Muslim or Sharia law in America. Right? It's clear as day when you think about it like that. Like, oh wait, no, they're not being persecuted. They're just not being able to enforce their religious zealotry on me. Well, it's the same exact thing here. But because we're so used to the term of Christian or Christianity, it doesn't really hit as hard as it should. But essentially we have Christian zealots, Christian supremacists, who are doing everything they can to legislate their high control religious theology onto everyone else. And then when we stop them from doing that, or when a professor gives them a bad grade for a paper that is not only poorly written, but cites no data, then they go, you're persecuting me. No, we're not persecuting you. We're holding you to a higher standard, and we're not allowing you to persecute our neighbors. That's what's going on here.
I know. I feel you.
Jeez.
Okay, do we want to read our super chats and then we can briefly mention what's happening with homicidal Hegseth and then we'll do our weird Christian shit?
Yes. Can you read these? Can you see these?
No. Now I can. Okay, from Sci-Fi Mombi. She's from my town of Springfield, Missouri. Her mother is a lawyer here. Her mother ran for city council, didn't pay her taxes, and got removed.
That's
hilarious. I believe they are Christian nationalists. Her mom represented January 6th. Yes, she has a lot of scandals herself. Yeah. From Dog Mom for Life. From an Oklahoman. Bless your heart, Samantha. Feel that. Thank you. Here you go. From Stevie Clown 2000. I've read better papers by a fourth grader. My daughter is in 4th grade, and I concur. Joseph Compton IV. Christians like her won't know what to do when true persecution comes for them. There are Christians who experience true oppression. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
Completely agree. From Mama Brooke, I am sick of Fox brainwashing network destroying our country, ruining my familial relationships, and deciding elections by lying, terrorizing, and mind control. I feel that too. From Jennifer Hoffman, 30. I love this. Go April. That was my first thought as a daughter of a teacher. This is a horribly written paper all the way around and embarrassing. Right. She should be embarrassed. From Melanie and Lee. I'm a retired college writing tour. She needed to engage the article and cite her sources. Agreed. From the real, is that an L? Melly?
Yeah, Melly.
Didn't she say something about bullying not being bad? But I guess it's only bad when it's directed at her. Love the show.
True.
That's fair.
That's
From
fair.
Joseph Compton IV, this girl is a liar. It's a shame that she's viewed as an excellent example of a model Christian.
Yeah. Cool.
Thank you all for the super chats. Those are very,
yes, absolutely.
they help fund our show.
Yes. Friends, yeah, if you want to get into just briefly kind of mention what happened with the boats.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you have like a MAGA response? Do you want to show that real quick? Just to show like the difference between how they're responding to her
Yeah. So by now, a lot of you are probably aware that it made national news that Pete Hegseth ordered what's called a double tap, which is essentially when they go back to kill more people. So there were some boats in international waters that the U.S. has been sniping for some reason. They say it's a drug cartel. No evidence has been proven or has been given. And also, they're still supposed to be given due process. Like, it's not right for a government just to start killing people indiscriminately. And so this has been going on for a few months now. In fact, I'm not sure if you saw, April, but Trump said that we're going to bring ground troops to Venezuela soon. So I guess so much for no new wars. The guy is actually instigating a war. And Pete Hegseth is under fire because he ordered the military to kill the survivors after the first strike in international waters. So Pete Hegseth doubled down. Now, keep in mind, right, we just talked for the past hour about Christian persecution, people making a big deal about this girl who wrote a terrible essay. But now we have people like this. This is Ali Stuckey. So Pete Hegseth tweeted this picture. It's an image of, I'm a huge fan of Franklin. I'm a huge fan of Franklin. Yeah, the turtle. A huge fan.
Classic.
Well, Pete Hegseth tweeted a picture of, I guess, a book cover of Franklin. It's called Franklin Targets Narco-Terrorists, and it's him like shooting a rocket launcher at a boat, which is just unbelievable to see. Again, a Secretary of Defense
book.
Hijacking a children's book and boasting about murder. And don't forget, Pete Hegseth claims to be a devout Christian. He's a disciple of Doug Wilson. So there's so many things wrong with this. It flies in the face of the teachings of Jesus, all that stuff. Ali Stuckey retweets and says, I fail to see a single thing wrong with this. And this is actually really important because even though Ali and this right-wing movement claims to be pro-life and claims to care about people, they actually only care about their people, right? Because for Ali and for Pete, the people over there who are Venezuelan, they're not really equally as human as they are. So the government's allowed to snipe them out of the water, to kill them. I'm sure their fathers, I'm sure their mothers, their sons and daughters, they can be exterminated. That's no problem. And then we can brag about it.
They're not clarifying who these people are.
Right. And even if they had good evidence of them bringing drugs to the U.S. Right. It's literally a war crime. They're still supposed to be given due process. You can't just snipe people out of the water. You just can't. And I think what the grossest response to me was, or the grossest response I saw was Megyn Kelly was talking about this. And I'm going to read this is her quote. I thought this was AI until I saw the video. She says, quote, I really do kind of not only want to see them killed in the water, whether they're on the boat or in the water, but I'd really like to see them suffer. I would like Trump and Hegseth to make it last a long time so they lose a limb and bleed out. What are we doing? This is the Christian right? This is what we call genuine Christology? This is evil. This is vile. Dare I say it's demonic. But don't worry, Samantha is the true victim here. Samantha is a victim of woke cancel culture as a Christian. But our government sniping out boats in Venezuela, hey, I wish that we could see them bleed out, says Megyn Kelly.
Because it's way worse to get a 0 on a 25-point paper that's not going to impact your grade than it is to be killed in a boat and lose your life forever. That's MAGA math.
I mean, well, it's just so evident how hypocritical and these people are, right? They don't really care about all life. They don't care about people. They care about their tribe, and they care about using people for their own power and control, right? Yeah. Ali Stuckey's out here trying to seriously argue for this radical, quote-unquote, pro-life position where she thinks that even IVF is murder. And then here she is cheering on our government.
Actual murder.
Murdering civilians in international water. She's cheering it on. It's evil. These people are not, they are, I'm telling you, they are demented. They are twisted with their logic.
Backwards morality.
Well, and it kills people. Like, we're killing people. We're killing people.
I'll focus on all the wrong things. They want to stop everything except actual harm.
Why don't we get to the nativity scene next week or the week after?
Yeah.
Kind of running out of time.
Yes, we'll got a lot more next week. So we can move on to our Weird Christian segment.
Woo! Okay, here we go.
Weird Christian shit.
Friends, really quick before we do this, thank you so much for tuning in and watching live. It means the world. Hello to everyone on Substack and on YouTube. Please make sure to give this video a like if you're watching on YouTube. If you're on Substack, smash that heart button. I'm told it helps get into the algorithm of Substack. Also, if you're looking for a place to find a better path forward in your faith, I recommend the New Evangelicals. They're the organization I started 5 years ago, now under the leadership of Melinda Hale. It's a nonprofit organization that also produces this show. We have our own community space, free resources, all kinds of cool things. TheNewEvangelicals.com, or you can follow us on Instagram at The New Evangelicals.
We have a couple more super chats. You want to read those real quick?
Yeah, sure. Let me pull this up real quick. Okay. I feel so out of it. Am I doing okay?
You are doing good. You're doing so good, Tom. You should go lay down and take a nap after this.
Oh, thanks.
I think we read this one already.
Okay.
We read this one already too.
Then I think we got just one then. This one.
From Dale Ingle. Videos can be made via AI as well, Tim.
That is true. Yes, it is. Okay. Do you want to tee us up for this, April? It's a good one.
Yeah, Erica Kirk.
There you go.
Speaking of a press tour, she's been everywhere lately. Thank you for the super chat. Joseph Compton says my favorite part of the show. Yes, it is my favorite segment as well.
Yeah.
Erica Kirk was interviewed. I think it was this the New York Times hosted some sort of I don't know what this was. It was some sort of event. They interviewed several people. Erica Kirk was one of them, and she was basically asked her thoughts on Zoran Mamdani
and why
winning.
He won.
And I think the question's in here. So let's just let's see what she had to say.
Of Mamdani here in New York, and the reason I ask is he was somebody who really actually was able to persuade the younger voter. Mm-hmm. I mean, he really captured, but obviously on the complete opposite end, if you will, of where someone like Charlie would have been.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's so interesting because I lived in Manhattan for a while and I loved this city. I'm going to come at this from a female voter because a high percentage of his voters were female. I think there's a tendency, especially when you live in a city like Manhattan, where, again, you are so career-driven and you almost look to the government as a form of replacement for certain things, relationship-wise even. So you see things a little bit differently. What I don't want to have happen is young women in the city, look to the government as a solution to put off having a family or a marriage because you're relying on the government to support you instead of being united with the husband where you can support yourself and your husband can support and you can guys all combine together. But I just find it so ironic and so interesting that a heavy percentage of the individuals that vote.
It stops there.
Oh.
It
goes longer.
Does it?
Yes.
Well, I can try and find it. Hold on. I'll try and find it.
I sent it to you, right? Hold on.
I downloaded it. Hold on. Don't worry. I have it back up. Maybe. Hang on, everyone. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine.
What did she say?
Did it stop there? Let's see. I don't think it stopped there.
Okay, let me just re-download it. Oh, gosh. Sorry, friends. Just one of those days.
Oh, maybe it did stop there. Hold on. No, you're right. It did stop there.
Oh,
but
okay.
in the one I sent you, there's a longer piece. But what is she basically is saying? I don't know what she's saying. Actually,
I don't know.
Voted for Zoran Mamdani to be a replacement for a husband.
I mean,
felt like the gist.
That was the. I mean, I have just to be clear,
Relationship wise, again, you are so career driven. And you almost look to the government as a form of replacement for certain things. Relationship-wise, even.
I'm sorry. How are these people promoted in these huge spaces when they say absolute and utter nonsense like that?
Also,
Who
I've never
looks
seen
to the
someone...
government to replace the relationship? How does one have a relationship with the government? How? What are we talking about?
Scare off so thoughtfully.
I know. Wait, where is it? Where is it?
Say something so unthoughtful.
So dumb.
No.
She even says I'm going to come at this from a female voter perspective. All of a sudden, Erica Kirk represents all women. To be clear, Mamdani ran on a campaign of making the city more affordable, making affordable healthcare a thing, making maybe free fares for buses and transportation a thing. That's not having a relationship with the government. God, April, I don't know how much longer I can take this stupidity that we have to cover every week on this show. We have someone writing a shit essay about nonsense, claiming persecution, and Oklahoma University is you know what? We won't count that towards her final grade. We have Erica Kirk saying that female voters are trying to replace their relationships with the government, and that's why they voted for Mamdani. This is the apex of conservative intellectualism? This is it? This is what they're offering the world?
Women want a man so badly that they voted for the one that they secretly wanted to be their husband.
Yeah, right. Because, what the hell?
Also, okay, I gave Erica a lot of grace that first month after Charlie Kirk was murdered, which I think she deserved some.
Sure,
she deserved a lot of grace.
She still lost a husband.
Her husband was just murdered very graphically. I mean, that's a terrible, terrible thing.
Totally.
I don't understand why she's even there talking about why Mamdani was elected.
Right.
That shooting was just 2 months ago.
Well, also, she doesn't live in New York. Why is she? Who cares what Erica Kirk has to say about Mamdani? She lives in Arizona and runs an organization in Arizona called Turning Point USA. She's not a native of New York City. She's paying no taxes in New York City. Who cares what Erica Kirk thinks about the mayor of New York City? Who cares? And when she's given a platform to express her thoughts on it, it's the most brain dead thing you ever heard.
I don't understand why, one, New York Times even gave her a platform, and two,
well, New York Times
why she's even doing. I mean, I know why she's doing it, but it is she is not behaving like a widow for what just happened. Maybe she's still living in denial. I don't know, but her behavior is odd.
I'm just well, the New York Times has been totally like going down like the right-wing think tank over the past few months. Super disappointing for sure. So I'm not exactly shocked that they have Erica Kirk, I guess, on this panel. I just don't know why. Like, why are we looking to these people as the bastions of intellectualism and to shape public policy when this is like her take? It's not even a good take.
Also, like the way she talks, like she's got this new. Maybe it's not new. Maybe she's always talked like this, but she takes everything so seriously.
Oh my God.
Like the way she's behaving, it seems like she's about to drop something very profound, and then she's not. She's like, and the long pauses, to me, she's like, I think she's just desperately trying to figure out what to say, because I don't think she actually has an answer. But she was just like, oh, well, I'm going to speak on behalf of a female voter.
Yeah.
I think women, they look at the government to replace familial relationships. She closes her eyes and she thinks, and then she's going to say something that doesn't actually make any sense.
It's stupidity. I'm sorry. Like, it's dumb. The fact that we even have to talk about this is dumb. This stuff distracts us from the real issues. And I say it every single time. Affordable healthcare is still not a thing. Wages are far underpacing, the cost of living. I'm not sure if you saw the recent article that came out that kind of shook people up, but an economist essentially said that the minimum amount of money people need in America is $136,000 for a family of 4. And people were like, that's crazy. We have to talk about this shit while like actual Americans are really suffering, while our immigrant neighbors are being torn apart, because this administration, in the name of God, is doing some of the most demonic antichrist things that we've ever seen in our lifetime. And these people cheer it on. Erica Kirk cheers that shit on. Her former husband, Charlie Kirk, cheered. There's a video of Charlie Kirk, I haven't shared it here, where he's essentially saying, this is before Trump gets into office, we know that the left was going to play a lot of videos of immigration raids trying to get people to feel empathetic, and we have to resist that. That's what he says. He says that. These people are cruel. They are cruel people who celebrate our government killing people in international waters, who cheer on watching their trans neighbors suffer, who cheer on people being put into ICE detention centers, who have no problem with other forms of clergy getting pepper bolted in the head. That's all fine and good. But we got to deal with Erica Kirk talking about how female voters voted for Mamdani because they're trying to replace relationships with the government, and we have to cover a freaking junior in college writing a horseshit essay that your 4th grader could do better, who claims persecution, is now making rounds on the right wing circuit. This is what we have to cover? Jesus Christ, it's ridiculous.
I think we have a few more super chats.
Okay, then we'll wrap up. Oh, man. I guess I'm in a mood today. I'm sick. Figuratively and literally. Yeah. Okay, T-Boss says, what rambling bull is she saying? How is the government a replacement for relationship? And in Manhattan? LOL. Thank you so much for the super chat.
I don't know what she was saying.
Dale says, while we're talking about Erica Kirk, what does everyone think about the kiss with J.D. Vance? We covered that a few weeks ago.
I don't remember. Was there a kiss? I thought it was just a hug.
It was the kiss on the cheek, I think, or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
And then from Annunciata, I'll just stop there. A token of appreciation for April's perfect Erica impression. Thank you so much. Oh. Thank you so much. And PJ, I am looking at the Substack chat. You said, yes, Tim and April, we know we all would rather not have to talk about this stuff, but we can't not address it because then it remains unopposed out there. Totally agree. That's why we're going to cover it. I mean, part of what we do on this show is we feel the need to respond to this, to give people hopefully a better path forward in learning how to dismantle the Christian nationalism that is totally animating this regime. It is, me and April have an opinion, and maybe it's unpopular, that not enough progressive media heads are talking about Christian nationalism. And there's a lot of reasons, I think, for that, including they just don't understand the world that April and I grew up in. which is why we feel the need to do this show every week, well, really twice a week, because there aren't enough people out there who really grew up in this movement, understand the movement, and then essentially defected while still remaining Christian. April and I are both still very much Christian, but we have defected from Christian nationalism. And the reason why April and I are so passionate about this is because we know the zealotry, the fundamentalism that goes into that mindset and how they will not stop until they've taken over the country. And I know that might sound conspiratorial for some people, but rest assured, it is absolutely true. So we cover this stuff every week to prove our thesis that we're not making this stuff up. That's the general idea.
That was beautiful.
Thank you, April. I saved all of that for my last hurrah before I go take a nap.
I'm just wiping my no tears.
Thank you. Well, friends, this was a great show, April. A good one.
Jolly good show. Right on.
You will not be here next week, right?
No, my 6-year-old is in the Nutcracker.
Oh, that's so cute.
So she has a school show she's doing, so I have to take her out of school. So I will be gone next Thursday.
I will have a special guest filling in. It's a great person. I'm not going to tell you who, but it is someone that I really respect who is a scholar. So we'll have some scholarly academic credentials on the show next week, and we'll be talking about whatever's in the news. So that's all I got for today, friends. I'm Tim Whitaker.
And I'm April Ajoy.
See ya.